Streaming cyberspace into your place, sanctioned by the Maximum Velocity Racing League. From Las Vegas Speedway, it's the Virtual Grip Network's fourth round coverage of the MVRL Monday Night ARCA Series. All right, after pack racing at Daytona to open the season, and a second round wreck fest at Phoenix, fans, drivers, and commentators alike, well, we were hoping Richmond would deliver exciting racing, and boy, Richmond did not disappoint. James Lehman, he only led one lap. In fact, Lehman only led one corner, but that corner was the fourth turn on the last lap, earning him his first win of the season. Zach Saunders, well, he led 44 laps, only to have victory snatched away at the last moment. Sanders came home in second. A Richmond fifth was all it took for round two winner Charles Widener to take over the points lead, pushing Tuffy Suitcasey from the top spot into second. Tonight, it's a crapshoot of Vegas. Who rolls a 7-out and who rolls snake eyes? For that answer and much more, pull the lever on the Lazy Boy and settle in for some simulated short track ARCA cars at Sin City. From the town built on sand and broken dreams, a warm hello and welcome on this Monday night, April 21st, 2025. The institution, J.R. Shepard, joins yours truly, Bill Soupson. Hi! For the VGN broadcast booth to bring you our words eye view. Replay Ryan Senator doing what he always does, turning the knobs and pushing the sliders. All right, J.R. Richmond was fun. What's this place got to offer?
Well, Soup, Las Vegas is one of 2 mile-and-a-half tracks that these drivers will race at this season, and I think tonight is going to be about learning for the majority of this field. With a track this big, aerodynamics will come into play, which means running behind another driver will not be ideal for you in the long run. All of these drivers, they're going to need to move around and find that clean air. If they don't, the front tires will overheat, the nose will slide across the track, and you will have absolutely no grip out there. Because of that, I think the name of the game will be running conservatively at the beginning of the runs in order to have that handling and speed at the end of the run. And so this is the type of race that will help show which drivers are the best at adapting to conditions. And this could be a very clear indicator of who will be the favorite to race after that championship this season.
All right, let's give you a very unclear indicator of how the points are going. So because this series allows drivers to drop their two worst race results, what we're about to show you is very misleading. We're going to show you each driver's total points for all three races. But what Soup's going to do is also tell you, because those drivers are forced to drop their two worst races, they're only allowed to score one. We're going to tell you how they really sit in the standings. Now, Charles Widener sits at the very top, but in actuality, he's in fourth with only 65 points. How about Tuffy Suitcasey? Well, he's in sixth with only 63. Christopher Howe, my goodness, he shows third here. When you count them all up, he's only in 19th because he can only score his best result, which is only 55 points. Justin Michael, he's in fifth with 65. Scott Padden, he's a third-place driver with 67. Then we get to the man who sits well down the order, James Lehman. He scored 71 last time out. That's a huge number for a single race. He's your top point leader if you only count his best result. Greg Mall, well, he's got 59. He's in 8th position, tied with Heath Smith and Aiden Young. Michael Milford, he's a little bit ahead of them in 7th. Now, the driver you don't see on there is a driver named Zach Sanders. He's second if you only take the best results with 68 points. That's because he's only raced once. But those no-shows, they don't really count because he doesn't have to use them. So there you have it. With that said, I hope we haven't confused you too much there, but it's one of the things we like to do when you have drop races involved. Oh, my goodness, look at that beautiful. Now, if you look up a little bit that you can't see off screen, if we had the ability to tilt that copper, the blimp shot up, we could see like the Luxor and the Flamingo down there. Good to be in Las Vegas. Remember, there's a stage break tonight, so they will be awarding 10 points to the winner of that. And those stage points are really important because they don't go towards the playoffs. They go right on your race point score. So even though you may not win, you can still be the overall winner. So we're going to start to grid up, which means we can go ahead and get our VGN commentator's bonus by giving you the standings right now. So bring it up real quick. I'll tell you the first row. Well, there he is. He sits, in my book, he's the points leader. It's James Lehman. He'll be starting on the pole. He's got Justin Michael outside of him.
Yeah, rolling off in row 2 inside Rob Haynes, outside Charlie Widener.
Jordan Nees will be starting in 5th. He's flanked by Tuffy Suit Casey.
Row 4 inside, we got Greg Mall, outside Christopher Howell.
Go ahead and spin the graphic and we look down there. Young gun, Aiden Young. He's going to be starting in 9th position inside of Matt Schlosser.
Rolling off in 11th place, we got Brandon Groover, outside in 12th, Jack Watts.
In the biggest of the spot, it's Cal Majowski. In the 14th spot, Zach with the K. Saunders.
Inside of row 8, 17 of Mark Jackson, outside in the 59, Grayson Gibson.
Let's spin the graphic one more time. We got Justin Bell in the 17th position. Tyler Stocker would be in the 18th spot.
Rolling off 19th, William Kirk. Alongside him on the outside will be Chris Surgeon.
We're in Las Vegas, so hidden blackjack. It's Brad Slagle. He's got Zach Shaggy Chapman in the double deuce position.
Row 12 inside, we got Adam Jones. Outside in that 65 car, Brandon Vees.
Then we get to the driver who's in the 25th position, and it is Graham Connolly. Flanking him in the 26th spot, it is Bill Paradise.
Rolling off 27th place, Sheldon Phillips. Outside him in 28th to be Bruce Pearson.
One of the Smith brothers, Ty, will be starting in the 29th spot. He's going to be inside of Jose Santa Cruz.
Rolling off 31st, Tyler Ebert. Alongside him in 32nd, Johnny Hamby.
Large field tonight. We get to 33 and 34. That's going to be Wan Sheng Huang, and Andrew Fabian will be outside him.
Rolling off 35th place on that inside, Stroke of Saturn. Rolling off outside in 36th place, Matthew Kniper.
Fan favorite, Landon Hendershot, will be in 37th, 38th in the number 31, Daniel Meagle.
Rolling off in row 20 inside, Sean Ryan. Outside in the number 1 car, Heath Smith.
There's another one of the Smith brothers. We go down here, we're looking at Christopher Prensky in that 41st position with Kerry Beaver Cleaver, 42nd.
Rolling off 43rd, Zachary Groover. Outside in 44th place, Michael Van.
And back there in the very end, it is Mason Knapp. 45 drivers, oh my goodness. That's a lot of cars to try to keep going in the right direction. Look at that beautiful stationary slot as they pass underneath you. Beautiful day to go racing here in Las Vegas. Coming around up in front. You're looking at your leaders. Glad you're with us here. James Lehman on the inside. Racing, Bandit Racing. Justin Michael sitting outside. We come to the line. We wait. They cross the line. And they did not go, as there's still a pace car out there. I apologize. I thought we only had one pace lap here.
Yeah, sorry, Soup. I saw and should have called it for you, but they actually extended the initial start here by 1 additional lap.
Oh, okay. Well, they're getting that worked out. Maybe they had more to talk about. Give some more screen time to the perfectly mesmerizing Josie Kirkland, as usual, behind the pace car here in every BGN broadcast. Large field here tonight. Now remember, they have tires that they can stop for. There probably will be pit stops. They have enough fuel to go the entire first stint. But their strategy, they could come in right before that caution flag's about to fly and do some sneaky pit stop strategy there. Although cautions are so frequent, you almost really don't need to play it out so much. It would be nice, JR, if we can find ourselves a green flag pit stop tonight.
It would be awesome at this track for sure, because the driver can make a difference. There's a lot of moving around I think we're going to see on track. So the longer the runs go, the more exciting the racing will actually be.
As you can see on the screen, we are working lap number 2 right now. So that lap counted, I believe. So, nope, they're going to fix it. We're back down to lap 0. Here we go. Coming across the line, gather up the chickens, take covering on the cows because the horses are out of the barn. And it is indeed Lehman who is leading Michael. Michael on the outside, Lehman on the inside. We'll see which line prevails.
Yeah, and these are two drivers that have been fast throughout the season, and they get the track position here tonight starting up front. And I talked about, we see the 199 actually get turned a little bit going into turn 3, Rob Haynes, and there's going to be more contact back behind him.
Rob Haynes manages to keep it going, but he's lost a ton of spots. Look at the guys going down below the apron. They keep it going straight. 4 wide up in front. Come on, boys, keep it. They get it worked out. Look at how wide it is here at Vegas.
Yeah, there's lots of room to move around. I did see Charles Widener in that 95 car. He actually made some good contact with the turn 4 wall, so he's going to hope that he can get a caution fairly soon so he can get in and make some repairs with that vehicle.
A driver to watch. We talked about him. We were running down the points. He had a race win stolen from him last time out. It is Zach Saunders. He is up a bunch of positions right now. You see him there racing his way through the field. He's up 7th, looking comfortable. Got a little bit of a peek on the inside from the 88.
Yeah, and you can see, Soup, when these drivers get to the corner, they all kind of fan out. I mean, they're looking for a place to go, but they're also looking to keep air on the front of that car. It's going to be important because if you do not keep that air on the front, you are going to wear your tires out. And it's going to start to show up around lap 5 to lap 10. That's when you're going to start to see some drivers start to move back through the field because they did not take care of those front tires. Beautiful
stationary camera shot. We're working our way through lap number 4. That's a battle for 4th. Maul with Casey on him.
Yeah, and up front, you know, it looks like the drivers are really kind of being a little bit conservative because I do believe that any of these drivers can leave whenever they want to. We're starting to see some of them pull out to do that, but they want to take care of those front tires. You got to be a little bit conservative right now, but right now, 3 wide up front.
Roll the top side. That's Haynes. Remember, we saw Haynes bumped a little bit. He went down to the apron. He's regathered it now. He's looking to the inside. Would like to see if he can get to the front. The front 3 beginning to jockey around. Way up top, there's Lehman.
And one thing we haven't talked about, I have witnessed it myself driving these cars. These cars do suck up to the car in front big time. So you do not have to be right behind that driver in order to get a big run. To make a pass, you can be 10, 15 car lengths back and in the same lap be able to close that gap. So big drafting, there's going to be some big runs throughout this race.
So who's in that number 7? Oh, that's Greg Maul having a nice run. Now they start to go single file, diving down low. Look at the different racing lines they can take. Justin Michael taking that low line in.
Yeah, and I really like what I'm seeing out of Tuffy Casey. I just saw another car drop down in front of him. I believe that was Greg Maul. But the drivers that can run right against that inside line throughout the corners, lap after lap, they're doing a great job of taking care of their tires. They're not overdriving that car, sliding up through the corner. So I expect to see them stick around in the long run here.
Well, you can see the pace right there as the cars vibrate the camera as they go by. Let's go again. Look at the number 97 of Zach Saunders. He missed the first 2 races. He was very impressive last time out at Richmond, and right now he is up several spots, working the top side. We ride on board with Zach with a K. Make a good run. Look at this outside, and he has, I guess, the draft in front of him to help him pull. They go 3 wide. He has his choice of lines.
Yeah, he absolutely does. And you see a couple of them touching that wall in turn 4. Close racing on the front stretch here.
That was Christopher Howell in the 88. Knew just how short the trunk of his car was. There he is. He tucks in. Working now on top the Tide car.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what we just saw there with some of that contact was these drivers just trying to learn this car at a track that is like this, where there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of gaps being closed quickly due to that draft, and you just got to be aware of where your car is and exactly where all the other drivers are placed on the track, and that takes time. It's not something that's just going to come natural, but these drivers, they'll figure it out throughout this race.
All right, JR, when I look at this track and I compare it to what we saw at Phoenix, which had a real wide track with like sometimes 4 wide, I see 4 wide here. Why is this better? Why is this easier for the drivers to figure out than Phoenix was?
I think just because of the banking more than anything, and Phoenix is more of a track where you're going to have to lift off of that throttle, apply the brakes, get the car to rotate. Here at Las Vegas, it's not so much about using that brake. You do have to lift off the throttle. You do have to take care of the tires, but the drivers have room to move around, figure it out. If they make a mistake, they have, and we see a mistake on the backstretch here. I believe that's Hal getting turned up into the outside wall, possibly with the 199 of Rob Haynes.
There we go. And a little bit as he tries to go around the 88. He powers his way through, and we get our first caution.
Yeah, a little hard to see there if Hal came up or the 199 came down, or it was a little bit of both. But Hal was involved in that initial incident that we saw on the front stretch. And yeah, for me, I think it's a little bit of a racing incident. The 199's trying to keep the car out of the wall coming off of turn 2. I think the 88 expected a little bit more room there, and the two just kind of came together. I think it's just one of those racing deals. It's unfortunate, but one of the racing deals.
Tuffy Casey doing a good job of turning the Tide car to the left there and got around him. All right, so we get our first caution. Some of the guys in the back may want to come in for tires and fuel just to get a different strategy. That's not nice going, guys. That's nonsense. Nonsense. None of these guys are bidding from up there.
Yeah, and, we'll watch. I think you may see a couple of drivers come down maybe for some repairs or something, but I'd be very surprised to see some drivers take tires at this point, because tires will be a factor here. If you have fresh set of tires late in the run, or late in the race, you will be the car passing everybody.
So some of the guys in the back may be coming in just for fuel. They do have a limited amount of tires they can take, so they may want to save them. When it's all said and done, what we will do is show you our favorite graphic, and we'll find out which driver is leading all the cars that made a pit stop. I believe the stage break is that, I'm doing this by memory, lap 26, 27. So we're just a tick under halfway there.
Yeah, and you never want to see a caution, but this is kind of a decent spot for these drivers to get one, because it's early in the race. It's about halfway through this first run that we'll be doing before the stage break, so they can kind of get a feel of what the car was doing and know how it's going to handle at the end of that lap 27 run. So it does give the drivers opportunities to adapt a little bit more than what they may have already been able to throughout practice. And what's expected the second run to be a little bit better than that first run. They had a lot of action, a lot of excitement in that first run, but obviously some mistakes are being made.
There's bring up the tower for you for pit stops. .37 and back is where the first stops for me. That's a long way to go, but I guess with 45 here, not a whole lot to lose as they start to double up. I want to talk about one driver who's really making his way through the field, up 10 spots. It's Bill Redler Kirk. Ray Kirk having a nice run. There he is, up 10. And on the inside line. I guess that's not so important here in Richmond. Oh, I'm sorry, in Vegas. All right, so we got ourselves about a 13-lap sprint to the stage point. Stage points are huge when it's going to be coming to winning a championship. The way they do the points for race finishing, it starts with 50 and then goes 1 point as you move down. So if you get yourself a stage win, that's worth 10. That's 10 positions. You can figure that out. Lead will be going green here as the pace car is going to pull it off. Josie Kirkland looking for pit lane. She'll duck it down in there. Watch her. Look at the cornering on that Mustang. All right. Working lap number 15. Justin Michael in control. Gets a nice jump. Inside line is coming. He's bringing the number 7 and Greg Mall with him. Mall on the inside looking for second spot. He's going to get it. The outside line not going.
It's not, but that's something that we'll have to pay attention to in future restarts. This is not exactly a place where you want to get a huge restart because of how big that draft can be. We'll have to say, oh, and we got a big wreck going down the back straightaway, one driver hard into the inside wall. I couldn't quite make that out. I know it's a Ford, but I could not see the number on it.
We cannot see. We'll look for it. Everybody going straight, though, and I guess it did not bring out the yellows. It just went down to the inside, so they're still racing?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, the caution has now come out, but yeah, that is going to end up being the 60 car there that got into the inside wall, Justin Bell. So we'll see how it happened. And ooh, yeah, just looks like the 41 drifted up coming off of turn 2, and I'm not really sure, Sloop. Obviously, the 41 coming up may not have even realized that he had a car on the outside of him there.
Take a quicker look at it. Oh, they get the, well, certainly the 41 saw him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I talked about how big the drafts and the runs will be coming. There is the slight chance that a driver's kind of looking in its mirror more than they are out the front or the left or right side of their vehicle. And, sometimes you don't always go straight when you're doing that. So, yeah, just kind of a weird coming together on the backstretch. But that seems to be the problem areas off of turn 2 tonight.
The 41 is Brandon Groover. Both he and his brother started on the pole in the season opener at Daytona. Haven't heard much of them since. All right, well, now that stage break gets even closer. Number 7. Greg Mall on the inside. Mall was coming. Now, I think on the inside, I guess the leader has not picked his line yet. The 87 is still to determine. I guess Greg was just trying to give a suggestion to maybe what Justin Michael could do.
Yeah, that's a good thing to keep in mind. The leader does have lane choice, double file restarts, but leader has lane choice, and not only that, the leader dictates when we go back green. So obviously they have to be within a restart zone that's on, between turn 4 and the start-finish line. But the leader gets to decide when we go, and that's a huge advantage. So really for the 87, unless he makes a mistake, inside or outside, doesn't matter too much. He should be in the lead by turn 1.
Some drivers up some big positions a little farther down. We'll talk about those in a minute. You see the top 25. Up 12 there for Hendershot. We got the ticker up top, and then we put the tower up during caution flags. Take the tower down so that you have a lot of landscape to watch the racing. There, as we scroll down a bit, you can see the other drivers that were up lots of points. Smith up 19. Kresge up a bunch. One rule change that they made after the first couple rounds was they took away the fast repair. So we'll see the herd thin a little bit, because they can't come in and keep getting fresh cars and keep bringing them out.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jay.
Yep, sorry. So that's an excellent point. I'd forgotten that they did remove the fast repair, and that's all the more reason in a race like this where there are some wild 3 and 4 wide racing, especially early on. You need to do a lot of giving instead of taking. So make sure you keep that car clean. We did see the 95 of Charles Widener get in a bad position early on and has damage on that right front. That's going to slow him down throughout the rest of this race. So these drivers have to be keeping that in mind, keep their vehicle clean.
Well, if you've got the ingredients in the kitchen, why don't you go in and start working on your souffle here? Because my goodness, yellow flags are incredibly long here. Finally, Josie Kirkland, I thought she was going to miss pin entrance there. She pulls it down. We're going to be working green. We'll be going green here for lap number 19. Remember, only 8 more laps until we set our stage winner. Justin Michael out in front. That 50 car on the inside. That's James Lehman.
Yeah, and you can see them going 3 wide already on the opening lap of this restart into turn 3 here. That's going to close up as they come off of turn 4. These drivers are going to have to keep it very nice and tidy. They do. A couple of drivers get that outside wall, but nothing too bad.
Riding on board with our leader, and he's pulling away, cooking with hot fish grease right now is Justin Michael. Easy to make time when the guys behind you look like they're starting the Indy 500. Now they get it sorted out. The 3 wide goes away.
Yeah, and I talked about Justin Michael not wanting to get far out in front of the pack, but it doesn't matter when they're 2 and 3 wide back there because it's slowing them down and they're not able to make the gains on him. If these drivers like we're seeing now for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th getting single filed out, they're going to close in quickly on our leader.
Well, James Lehman said, knock it off, boys. I got somebody to catch, and now he's rolling after him. Here comes the number 50 in 2nd position, working after stealing that win last time out. Would like to make it 2 in a row. Michael has been very successful so far. Look at the battle and going back 2 by 2 by 2. Looks like animals trying to get on the arc.
Yeah, everybody's searching for that clean air, but also searching for some grip. We see several drivers making contact with that outside wall coming off of turn 4. That's where it does close up and get tight. But these cars, they do have the composite bodies on them. As long as you don't smack that wall super hard, the body's going to be fine. A couple of these drivers find exactly where that limit is.
Tuffy Casey there taking my breath away. Thought he was getting in the back of Saunders for a minute, but they got it worked out. I told you to watch out for Zach Saunders. He's up 9 spots. How about 15 for William Kirk? My goodness.
Oh, and a driver going around on the front stretch is going to bring out the caution. I don't know who it was, but I did see a car spinning right before the start-finish line. Yeah, that's going to be Slagle that's going around there in the 052 car. So ultimately, I don't see a whole lot of damage from that car. It looks like the body's straight. We'll have to see if he's got some suspension damage. But yeah, a little bit of what I talked about earlier there, just coming off of turn 4, getting into that outside wall. Nothing that was severe to his vehicle, but it did cause him to bounce off and down the track. And unfortunately, had another car looking to the inside of him when that happened and just got himself turned there.
See a whole lot of damage. Might be able to bring that car back out there. Not a lot of sympathy for a driver who races a triple-digit machine. I'm telling you, it's a recipe for disaster. Lap 24 of 75. Now, the way that these caution flags have gone, I don't know if we're going to get this thing in before the stage break here. Let's go ahead and bring up Zach Shaggy Chapman. Spent a little time in the VGN broadcast booth. See what he has to say. Zach, you're down there in 14th. How you feeling?
Feeling like it's time to come in here and get a new set of tires, I guess. I took it easy there at the beginning. There were 2 laps before the caution came out. I had my fastest lap of the race. I was hoping it would go the full way here, try to get me some stage points, but hey, can't win them all.
I can't figure out which is the racing line to be on. Is there one, or does it depend where the draft is?
So it's funny you say that too. Literally, while you pulled me up, Aiden and I were going back and forth. He seems to think you can get it done on the inside, but I believe that was Adam Jones behind me. He was working the inside the last, I want to say, 4 or 5 laps on me, and realistically, I could have gave it to him, but if I want these guys to beat up their tires a little bit. It didn't seem like he could get it done down there. Maybe a little quicker, but I don't know. It seems like you want to roll that top, keep the momentum.
Well, Young Gun is notorious for working the top side, so if he says the bottom's the way to go, he must really like it. We'll keep an eye on you.
Yep, appreciate it, guys. Have fun.
There you see it is now on lap 25. Well, help me out here, JR. They're going to come around, and what was our pit stop situation like now? My timing and scoring, none of the leaders came in?
I believe.
No top 20 pit. Okay.
Yeah. Several drivers staying out here. Obviously, some of the drivers staying out, they want to make sure that they are getting those stage points. We'll have to see if we get the one to go this time by or not. But we're starting lap 26 right here, so.
This is the there we can see that those guys now.
Yeah, so Soup, we're going to have a one-lap shootout because we will be starting lap 27 when we take the green flag. So they will have to finish lap 27 before the points are paid out. But that's why a lot of these drivers stayed out. Drivers that may not have had an opportunity to get up there in the stage points and want to get some.
So the front two stayed out. Everybody came in, and you can see that Miglin came in long ago. So he's just going to try to see if he can make those tires work for one lap, and then we'll get another yellow. I think, unless we're going to get a yellow before we go green. Do you think? We think we're going to go green for a one-lap shootout to the end.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess we're learning together, but I would think that they would run at least one lap there because you've got to complete lap 27, and the green flag we're coming, you start lap 27. So we'll see what happens.
Only our fourth race here with VGN doing this series. We get more in tune with how things work as we get a little more experience in. All right, Josie Kirkland tucks it down in there. I think we're going to go racing, and my guess is we got a one-lap sprint before the yellow. We'll know for sure if the yellow comes out on the next lap. Here we go. Lehman with a big jump. Too big a jump? Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see because Tuffy Casey did get single file behind him. Lehman's got a good position here because they are wide open right now. They are still getting up to speed, but Tuffy Casey's going to have a big run going to into 3 and potentially coming off of 4 if he does it correctly.
The light blue machine on the inside, third back on the inside line. That's Miglin. He's out there because of track position. He did not come in for a stop this time around. Okay, covering the inside like wall-to-wall carpet is Lehman. And there's the caution. And I believe that's our stage points. When we look at this, if this is how I think it played out, I believe that it's going to be... Yeah, now this is... What you're going to see there a little bit is Justin Michael fooling around a bit. Get back there, Justin, so we can go ahead and tell you how the stage points work. Get behind the pace car, gentlemen. We believe it's Lehman who got the lion's share there with 10. Michael only gets the 9. They get that sorted out right before. They have to get it sorted out before they come down pit lane, or there'll be something to pay out there.
Yeah, there could potentially be penalties if you were not in lane. But yeah, the big driver as far as having the most points gained or potentially gained would be Daniel Miglin there. I know he only finished 4th in the stage, but he was up 35 positions from the start of this race. So that is a huge decision on his part to stay out instead of pitting to get him some stage points. That could be very big later in the season.
Well, we know that Lehman's going to have to come in. We know that Casey's going to have to come in because they have yet to stop. Miglin might have to come in as well, as he's been out there for a long time. Everybody else has only been out there for just a handful of laps. Don't believe the pit lane was open yet. Now we have some takers. And call me a liar, and maybe the pit lane is not open. Lehman and Casey did not come in.
Yeah, we'll have to watch this time by. I would assume that a lot of them are going to be coming in, but you never know with the way some of the strategy can play out. I talked about how important those front tires are if you got a new set late in the race. We know that we tend to get a lot of cautions, especially later in the race, so some of these drivers could play some strategy and potentially stay out, or just take fuel, but stay out in order to keep those tires fresh in the pits.
Well, they're staying out one more time. Not sure if they did it by choice or if it just wasn't open yet. They're starting to double up, so I guess that's it. This, I have to question. They've been out there for the entire time. That's 30 laps. JR, it can't be more than another... If they can go 10, I would be surprised. We're talking about Lehman and Casey. Last thing you want to do is have to pin under green.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting from that standpoint because obviously you got to have fuel, but we have had a lot of caution laps, and you can save a lot of fuel under caution. So these drivers that have not pitted yet, they may be able to stretch it, say, to like lap 50 at this point. So they may have quite a distance to go, just banking on another caution coming out before it's time for them to pit. And to be honest, you know, they've got 3 sets of tires in the pits. These other drivers that have pitted already only have 2. After 10 laps out here at a place like Las Vegas, you can feel the handling go away. So having those fresh tires, that's a big deal. I think James Lehman, Tuffy Casey, they understand that, and they're gonna play that strategy.
New driver out there at the 012. That is Tyler Starcher having a nice run. Keep an eye on him. All right, I will tell you right now, I question this strategy. I think it's going to come back to haunt Lehman and Casey, but they stay out there. Big jump there from Lehman. Casey does not go. That's Justin Michael. Michael on fresher rubber and more fuel. Well, we assume fresher rubber. He came in more fuel, certainly. Not sure if he took tires.
Yeah, and the moment where those tires will really start to show up will be about around 3 laps into this run. That's where you'll start to see the drivers that have the fresher rubber be able to make those moves. Cold tires, they help out with grip a lot, but once those tire temps come up, that's where the drivers who have not pitted are going to start to struggle. And out front, we see Justin Michael challenging James for that lead. He almost had him clear off of 2, but it looks like James is going to be able to pull back forward going into 3.
Okay, drop the camera to car number 31. This is Justin Miglin. Now, we saw him do some stay out there that stop before, and he was well up front. Then he was able to come in with everybody else. He's now made that stop, so he's on equal playing field with these guys up front. He picked up a ton of position just by strategy. Well done.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can pull that type of strategy, and as long, you know, you don't have to maintain exactly where you were when you finish that stage. If you can just maintain better than where you were before all of that strategy came into play, it's a net gain by the time you make that next pit stop, and that's what he's banking on. And it looks like he's got the speed to do it, so that's a very good move from that driver.
Yeah, he got stage points and track position. That's really all you can ask for. Well done. The 50 off the piece on the inside. Look at that car having trouble getting going. That's Lehman. Now, could it be because he's on older tires? The 50 sure wasn't moving.
It's definitely because of older tires, but the one thing that's making it more difficult is he's got the older tires while he's on the inside lane. The other drivers passing him are in that outside lane. So once your tires are wore, it does take more effort to keep it down on the bottom of the track. And if somebody has fresher tires on the outside of you, they're just going to be able to go wide open and go right past you. So that's where James is struggling the most right now, is just being stuck on that bottom.
Casey and Lehman, both those guys on old rubber, racing about 6th and 7th. Red Alert Kirk, William having a nice run. Look at this guy. Oh no, careful, Bill! Captain Kirk dives it to the left. Boy, that was some Sulu behind the wheel there. Nice navigating.
Yeah, I didn't think they were done for a moment, but I have no idea how those guys did not wreck. So just a big, big testament to the driving talent that is out there on track, because that was not easy. That took talent. That was not luck.
What a great job, our director on board. He knows where the action is. Battle up front. Saunders, Michael, and there's the 7 of Mall looking on the inside. The 97 of Saunders on the top side. Justin Michael out in front.
Yeah, Saunders talked about him. Talked about him a little bit earlier in the race, but he's up 12 positions at this point, and he is very racy. I mean, he's searching around. He's going wherever Justin Michael is not in the corners, and that's what you have to do to take care of the tires, but to also find that speed.
You know, just to drill down on the significance there of what William Kirk was able to do in the incident in front of him, it did not bring out the caution, which Casey and Lehman are begging for right now. Rivers in China, ribbons around old oak trees. Roses in Texas, give me something yellow. Says those two guys.
Yeah, absolutely. They want the caution to come out, but they did not want to lose a ton of track position because they know that if a caution comes out, these other drivers who have already pitted, they're going to come back in and get some tires. It's going to be time to do that the longer we go into this run. So, yeah, it's starting to not play in the favor of those drivers that stayed out in order to get those stage points.
JR, I don't mean to put you on the spot. You're certainly going to lose a lap. Would you lose 2 laps if you have to pit under green? No, you can get out there with only 1 lap down, right?
Most of the guys will get out there with just 1 lap down. If you're toward the back of this pack and have to do that, there's a very good chance you're going to go 2 laps down as you come back onto the racetrack. So it's tough. You're definitely going to lose at least 1 lap if you have to come in under green.
So Lehman and Casey are now racing in like 10th and 11th. They continue to lose time to the leader. They kind of have to be careful. I guess they cannot lose so much time that they're not able to make that stop and only go 1 lap down. If they go 1 lap down, they're fine. If they go 2 lap down, then they're really in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have to make a green flag stop, you're going to hope and pray that the caution does not come out and that it cycles all the way through to where those other drivers, 20 laps later, 30 laps later, have to come in as well. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult night to try to get back on that lead lap. You got lucky dogs, but you got to have a lot of caution and a lot of luck on your side to get in there.
Indeed. Working lap number 41. No more stage points. We're only going to 75, so do the math, Soup. We're halfway there. And then some.
Yeah, and this is always the risk that you take when you go off on different strategies. There's usually a point during a race, especially at a 1.5-mile track, where you get a good long green flag run. And right now, I hope I don't jinx us, but right now it looks like we have that type of feel with the racing that's going on. These drivers have learned a lot. They're taking care of their stuff. They are racing hard, but they are doing it smart right now.
My phone is blowing up from the Schlosser family. All right, I hear you. Let's go ahead and look at number 400. There he is. He's in 4th position, up 7 from where he started. Having a nice run considering the car number.
Yeah, he's continuing to move forward right now. You said he's up 7 spots. Not a huge move, but definitely moving forward at the right time, right around the halfway mark here, just past it. So that's looking very good to him, but he does have Greg Mall looking toward his inside, so got some competition.
The good news for the 400, when it gets turned over on its lid and you read it, it says, "Oh!" So I guess that's one way to do it. Meanwhile, the guys who did not pit continue to say, "Where's my caution flag?" Lehman back in 10th right now. I don't see Tuffy Casey. Did Casey have to come in and make a stop? I don't see him on my tower.
He may have. Lehman is coming down pit road right now, so those drivers did not have enough fuel to get to lap 50 like I thought. They're on lap 44 right now, and they are both on pit road.
If you're a new driver to iRacing and you join a series that is broadcasted on VGN, do yourself a favor. While you're racing, tune in the broadcasts for pit stop strategy. If Lehman and Casey had been listening to us, they would not be in the predicament they're in now. Nevertheless, watch how it plays out for them and they end up winning this race. Good battle for second. That's the 7 of Mall. There's Schlosser in that 400. Having a nice run.
Yeah, and looking back out on track at the moment, I did see that Tuffy Casey, he did go 1 lap down. Looks like he's in good shape of not going 2. So both him and Lehman, they're going to have some track position to make up. They want to make sure that they are at least the lucky dog candidate, but if possible, try to chase down that leader in order to get back on the lead lap. I think they're just too far away to do it.
All right, now help me out if I get this wrong. If the yellow were to fall now, everyone would come in probably, and maybe even Lehman and Casey would at the very end, but they would cycle around, but they would be stuck at the back of the pack. So worst case scenario, I guess the best case scenario is it stays green and everyone has to make that green flag pit stop like they did. worst case is if the yellow falls before people start running out of fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the yellow falls before that point, they're obviously going to have to take the wave around, which means they cannot come in and get tires. So they're going to be on the tires that they've had throughout this run for the last couple of laps. And that'll be the disadvantage, but they've got to do it because that's the only way that they're going to get back on the lead lap. Now, obviously, if you're in that lucky dog position and the caution comes out, you're going to get the wave around before the pits happen, and you're going to get to come in and make that pit stop. So that's why that position
Interesting.
is critical.
So now there is a bit of a battle between Lehman and Casey, even though they are way down the order. That lucky dog spot is very important because wave around and lucky dog, the rules are different. JR, I love having you in the booth with me. That's good information.
Yeah, it's very critical. You want to be in that lucky dog position because you lose track position, but you get to come in and make your pit stop and get your tires, and that's where it makes a difference because we get another long green flag run. The drivers that just took the wave around are going to be on old tires, and they're going to have a big risk of going another lap down.
Looking at the number 1 machine
and the
there.
caution's out there, Sue.
Oh. Well, that's really not what those two wanted to see. Oh, fan favorite Hendershot involved in that one. Take another look. 3 wide. Oh, that's the 31 that had did that wonderful pit strategy. Miglin got caught up in that. We'll see if he's due for a pit stop anyway, so I guess he'll have to come in.
Yeah, it's hard to tell those at home because it looks very simple, like the 31 just moved up right before corner entry, and that's what happened. But from inside the race car, the 31, it's hard to judge exactly how much room you need to give when you have 2 cars alongside you entering that corner because you're trying to get a decent arc going into the corner, and you're trying to move up as much as you can without crowding those drivers, and a lot of times we just see contact being made there. It is very difficult to do, especially when you're in a new car like this new ARCA car. A lot of drivers still trying to figure out exactly where that right side is.
That was the 20 of Adam Jones. You see you getting a little bit of a side swipe there. He'll have to come in. All right, everybody coming in. Some people stay out. Certainly, it's going to be Casey and Lehman will be staying out. Could James Lehman have got that lucky dog? So he'll be able to come around and, I don't know if tires were all that important. He'd only been out there for a couple laps, but he'll be able to at least cycle around and be in exactly the same type of strategy as the guys who just came in.
Yeah, so Lehman's definitely getting the lucky dog. I believe, obviously Casey, he's going to stay out, and I believe Cal Majowski was another driver that was a lap down. They're going to stay out and get that wave around in order to get back on the lead lap. Lehman does have the opportunity to take tires if he wants it, but kind of like you said, so he was only out there for, let's see, about 5 laps, I think, under green flag racing, maybe 4.5. So he doesn't have that much tire wear, and it's kind of like throwing a set of tires away. So kind of expect him to stay on those tires he's got. At this point, he's kind of made his decision, his strategy call. I think it's best for him to save those tires and keep them in the pit just in case we get a late race caution at this point.
Elon Musk, if you're watching, could you whip up some type of timing and scoring where I'm able to tell if drivers took 4 tires or 2 tires? The only way that I could do it is pit stop time. What do you think? That's probably a 2-tire stop, right, JR, there at the end, right sides for most of those guys?
I'm looking at the pit stop times here. They're around 15 seconds. Kind of depends on how much fuel you got to take, but you can change 4 tires around that 15, 16 second mark. So I'm thinking most of these drivers probably took 4 tires instead of the 2.
All right. There you go. Everybody coming in for a stop. Then you go down to Beaver Cleaver down there in the 17th spot. Did not, well, he came in. Oh, sorry. Al came in recently, yeah. You see the little tag there on the far right side. Lehman stayed out. He got the lucky dog, so he may come in and take care of tires if he has time. I'm not sure if he does. Tuffy Casey also staying out. So it didn't work for them. It just didn't fall the right way. You got to listen to old Soup. But they are back on the lead lap. With 23 laps to go. JR, they were very quick. Clearly two of the fastest cars, but it's a lot of cars to get through in 23 laps. Doable?
It's doable if the right strategy kind of plays out here, but yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, they're going to have to get moving, in my opinion. I don't think they have time to really wait and hope that that strategy works out where they have that that extra set of tires that they can come in and get when the rest of the field doesn't. So I think they're going to have to work hard here. Obviously, they're at a little bit of a disadvantage. Got 5-lap older tires, but they're going to have to use them.
Okay, getting comments from Gloria Slosher. Wanted to talk about the 400. I see her, Gloria. I don't know if you're a wife, a sister, a daughter. But yeah, Matt's doing great. Sitting on the outside, and the outside has been very competitive on these restarts. So let's see what that 400 can do. Everybody on the same pit strategy. Big mover. We haven't talked about Junjin Wang. Up 26 spots in the 76. Watch out for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Another driver, Heath Smith, that's now in 4th place. He's up 36 spots, and trying to, somehow we missed how he got up there. I'm trying to look at the pit stop times and stuff. Looks like his pit stop time's about normal compared to everyone else, but up 36 spots there, so that's a huge move.
Of course, one of the Smith brothers, both Heath and Ty. Sadly, the driver who has the best season-ending result gets the better cut of meat come Thanksgiving. Guy who finishes the least is stuck with the neck. Just seems a bit extreme, personally. But the Smith family, they have the rules. All right. Freaking lap number 21. I'm sorry, it's been a long day, folks.
Yeah, Justin gets a huge jump. Once again, he's had a lot of restarts up front, so he gets a big run there, but it does look like Zach Saunders is going to get it sorted out behind, so they're going to have a big draft from behind going into turn 3.
Justin Michael, he's been racing up front for most of the season. He's one of the guys who's in the championship conversation. Zach Saunders is late on the scene. We talked about him. He didn't show up in the top 10 in points because he's only raced one race, but when he came in, my goodness, he got himself, well, he was one corner away from getting a debut win. And he's racing fast again. .012, Tyler Stocker having a nice run.
Yeah, definitely. We're getting a lot of new names up front. This kind of, the way the cautions have fallen, strategies come into play a little bit here. Drivers on different cycles, and we're getting a lot of names that we didn't see up front before that caution that are now up front, and we're seeing some different type of racing. These drivers, they're not used to being up front, and the thing about that is that the car's going to handle different, and I can't stress that enough. When you're back in the pack, you don't have a lot of air on the nose of that car. Now that you're up front, you can run faster lap times, you can move around and find grooves that work a lot better for you. I think these drivers are learning a lot right now about how that car handles different, and some of them are making it to good use.
We got to tell you the full story, and one of the stories is the tragedy that is Lehman and Casey. Let's look back at, I think, about 23rd, 24th position. They are racing together. They had that horrible pit stop strategy. There they are. Working their way. There's the 50 of Lehman, and just ahead of them, I think the Tide car there is Casey. They're coming, but they're running out of laps.
Yeah, they're definitely running out of laps, but Casey's got the advantage over Lehman right now, and they're trying to come through the field like you talked about, but right now they're just running in 22nd spot, the best one so far.
Can we look at the 27 before we go away? I know we like to talk about speed, but how about paint schemes? Boy, I tell you want your car to go fast, don't put 3 digits on it. Let's look at the 27. If you wanted to really go fast, put a couple racing stripes on it. Oh, my goodness. Nice run there from the 27. Let me scroll down and try to figure out who that is. That's Zachary Grover, one of the Grover brothers. Those stripes cut through the air. But put them on vertically. Don't put them across your car. That'll slow you down. Nice little battle. There's the 76. That's the driver that was having such a great run. Wan Yang. Wang way up several spots right now. Looking for his best finish.
Yep, sorry, Super. Right ahead of them, I just saw Tyler Starcher and Matt Slosser make some contact going into turn 3. Starcher doing an extremely good job of not overcorrecting that car, but definitely some contact there. The tires are starting to slip away a little bit, enough to where the car is pushing, and these drivers are starting to make some contact with each other.
Loria, Matt's beginning to fall in that 400. The Slosser beginning to drop down. See some of the drivers in the back. They're coming. Different racing lines. You see him dip down way down to the apron, come back up. That's Wang on the outside. Aiden Young making that move on the inside. Remember, we talked to Zach Chapman. Shaggy said that Aiden Young said the inside line's the way to go, and that's what he's trying to make work right now.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of running the inside line. I think it's the best way to take care of your equipment and have something toward the end. The problem that Aiden had right there is that when you come onto the straightaway, most of the guys are going to go with that driver that's in that outside lane, and that's what happened. He just did not have any drafting help in order to pull forward.
You can see it on the tickers they go by. Casey in 20th, Lehman in 19th. They're running out of laps. Big in the point standings, going to have a poor race today.
Yeah, at this point, the only thing that could help them would be a caution and some pit stop strategy, maybe just taking right side tires in order to get some position, but that's the only thing that's going to help them at this point. Right now, the racing is a lot calmer than what we've seen, but there are some of these positions that are starting to heat up a little bit, including right up here at front between Justin and Zach in the 97 car.
Michael and Saunders. Saunders was on him really tight. He backs off a little bit to get maybe a little bit of a run. The draft work, is that something you can do, JR? Is the draft good, or is Aero Push worse?
Aero Push is very bad, but the one thing that I've learned about this car, and you'll hear a lot of drivers talk about it, is that the draft is crazy good on tracks like this. And, you know, obviously at Daytona or Talladega it's going to be big, but at tracks that are like a mile and a half in length, the draft is huge. You can be 10 car lengths back and make all of that up in one single lap just from the draft. But you've got to be able to have the grip once you get down to the corners, and that's where taking care of the tires and making sure you've got clean air on the car. And that's what I like about what I'm seeing from Zach while we're riding on board with him right now. He's keeping that left side lower than the leader. That's going to allow some air to get on that left front and allow that car to rotate through the corner. So he's doing a nice job, exactly what he needs to do, and he could just be biding his time for a late run here.
What a great camera shot. Here in VGN, we call that the right foot camera, because when you watch it, you just can't help but have your right foot stretched down as if it wants to push on the gas pedal. Zach Saunders with a run. Different racing lines. You heard my partner talk about it. He's looking for a draft. He's looking for clean air at the same time. Those two guys beginning to pull away. Starker has nothing for him.
Yeah, it's all about finding which line's going to work the best for your car, but particularly which line works best around this track as the tires wear. My favorite is going low through turns 1 and 2 and then running the middle to high line through 3 and 4 with this type of car. I saw Michaels doing some of that earlier on, but also Zach Saunders trying to move around and do the same. They're looking at each other. They're watching in the mirror, seeing what the other one's doing, and then the other one is reacting to it.
The best racing is a little farther back. There are points to be made. Wang trying to get some points down there as he was working in that yellow car underneath. That's Smith with the racing stripes up top. Oh, cutting right in front of him. Was that coming right in front of Wang? That's the number 1. That was Smith.
Yeah, and Smith up 36 spots still. Looks like he went down 1 spot, 35 spots at this point, but he is racing for that top 5. You can see how close they're getting to each other. The car is starting to push really bad. That is where that close racing is coming from on corner exit. Now, if they're 3 wide, it's going to get really bad here. If they don't sort it out, they do get back down to 2 wide. So a nice move there by the 9 car around Smith.
No turkey neck for Heath Smith as he's crushing his brother right now. Ty buried back farther in the pack. Look at that number 1, keeping it down low. That's the 9 of Riddler Kirk on the outside. Great battle going on. Those guys are racing for what would be 5th position.
Yeah, and right now, the top 10, most of those drivers are up 15-plus positions from the start of this race. So big moves. We do see some contact there. Looks like Smith getting into the outside, and that's going to slow his momentum. Not what you want at all in an ARCA car, because you're going to lose several spots, and it's going to take you time to get that momentum back.
Heath hit the outside wall, bounced down in front of everybody, came all the way across the track. They managed to slow up. The laps begin to tick away, which is good news, I guess, for Michael and Saunders right now, as they have. In fact, we take a look. Let's look at the lead. Oh, my goodness. Saunders could not keep up.
He couldn't. I thought he was doing a very nice job, but obviously Justin has figured out what kind of position he wants when he gets to each of the corners, exactly where he needs to run to carry that speed. And he's moving right around the middle of the racetrack. That's where he's carrying that momentum. And I think that's ultimately what these drivers are going to have to do if they want to have the speed late in the run. They're going to have to move up the track a little bit.
VGN notorious for giving drivers nicknames. You want to get a nickname quick, you pick up Bridemaid if you keep coming in and finishing second, and that's what's happening right now. To Zach Saunders, finished second in his season, in his series debut, second here today. We still have 3 laps to go, so anything could happen. Battle for third looks really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's William Kirk in this one.
Yeah, alongside Starcher there, and they are racing out. You can see both of them trying to move each other a little bit higher up the track. Kirk wants to carry that momentum, but Starcher does not want to be pinned down, so he keeps moving up as well. But right now, Kirk got that position.
You can almost hear Scotty say, "Captain, I have no power for you." Kirk trying to go as fast as he can right now. Sitting in third, Stockard behind him. Great battle. Also, Grover and Wang are in this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The 27 car, Zachary there, he's up 39 positions, and he's looking for more, so he's trying to make that pass to get into 4th position. Right now, he's got it.
That he bounced it off the wall, and no, I'm sorry, that's Grover is doing that one. That was Smith who bounced it off the wall. Heath Smith. There's another spot. We haven't seen much from Grover in a while after that early qualifying phenomena at Daytona. Meanwhile, final lap. You're looking at your leader, Justin Michael.
Yeah, big win there for Justin, and he does it by over 2 seconds at a track that I just did not think somebody's going to be able to pull away on. So that right there tells me that moving forward, we need to be watching this guy super careful, because he's going to be running away with some points.
Zach Bridemaid Saunders with another 2nd place finish. And Star Trek fans will be happy as William Kirk makes the podium. We're going to get to talk to him when we come back from break. The racing is over, but our broadcast is not. We'll take a short break, run down the entire finishing order, talk to the top 3 before we put a lock on the gate. You're watching the Virtual Grip Network. From Las Vegas Speedway, it's the Virtual Grip Network's fourth round coverage of the MVRL Monday Night ARCA Series. The results are in. Let's give them to you now as we bring them up. Justin Michael picks up the win with Zach Saunders right behind him. That's the second runner-up for Zach. Hopefully he'll do better next time out. William Kirk had a nice run through the field. He'll get that final podium spot. With one of the Grover brothers, Zachary, in fourth, and Tyler Stocker in fifth. Wanjun Yang, we watched him work his way through the field, was in a good battle back there with those guys. He was able to get the best. Johnny Hemley, we watched him as well. Had a nice run, didn't get a lot of screen time. We'll try to do better next time for the independent driver. Aiden Young Gun Young tried to make the inside line work. He's going to get a top 10. You know, keep an eye on Jack Watts as he powers his way up into another top 10 performance. That's a name that can sneak up on you before the season is over. Finally, Matt Schlosser rounds out your top 10. JR, what's the next 10?
Yeah, coming home in 11th, Zach Shaggy Chapman getting a good run there. Behind him in 12th place, Heath Smith kind of, fell back through the field a little bit late in the race there with contact with that outside wall. 13th place, Jordan Nees. Coming home in 14th, Brandon Groover. James Lehman, he'll come home in 15th, went into that kind of off strategy from the rest of the field, but did cycle back through to 15th. 16th place tonight would be Chris Sargent. 17th place, Brad Slagle. He got involved in some action out there. 18th place, Sean Ryan. Tuffy Casey, he's that other driver that was on that alternate strategy. He'll come home in 19th place tonight. And 20th place will go to Kerry Cleaver.
Advice for Lehman and Casey there. Listen to the broadcast. Soup won't steer you wrong. Hidden Blackjack, it's Michael Van with Andrew Fabian after him. Charlie Widener. Oh, we don't hear much from Widener. He started this race, leading in the total points. Had a bad result tonight. Daniel Meagle, he raced up front for a while in the 31. Christopher Howell and Cal Majowski, quiet races for both those guys. Greg Mullen, the number 7, was up front for a long time. He's going to finish 3 laps down. Sheldon Phillips behind him with Jose Santa Cruz. I love to say that name. With Straka Saturn, Nuke driver in there. Orbits the way into what would be 30th position.
31st place now. We continue with drivers having a lot of bad luck. Matthew Kniper, 12 laps down. 32nd place, Adam Jones. 33rd, Tyler Ebert. 34th place, Landon Hendershot. We saw him involved in an accident. Brandon Vees, he'll come home in 35th place. Rob Haynes had a lot of speed very early in the race. 47 laps down in 36th spot tonight. Bill Paradise will come home in 37th. Christopher Craigie, he'll come home in 38th place. Ty Smith, 39th place. And Bruce Pearson, he'll come home in 40th.
Get to the back half down there. Bob Haynes, we saw him have an incident going down to the inside, never could recover. Bill Paradise after him. Oh, folks, I'm sorry, you did those before. I'm going to take it from the back. Mason Knapp was your last place driver. Graham Connolly in there as well. Mark Jackson, Justin Bell, Grayson Gibson, and then we talked about Bruce Pearson in 40. That'll do it. Okay, let's go to the interviews now. So being those up, and we get to talk to, who we talking to, Director? Oh, we got our race winner here, Justin Michael. Congratulations on that one. You had pace and strategy.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. It was definitely a good run.
I know that you'll have enough to worry about yourself there, but Casey and Lehman seem to be as good as anybody in here, and then they decided to stay out. Are you able to follow a strategy for those guys? And you got to figure, boy, when they had to make a green flag stop, well, that's 2 less guys to race, right?
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely tough, and when they didn't pit, I figured they'd drop like a rock, and they pretty much did. I mean, they dropped back about 3 seconds before they had to pit. I was kind of interested to see how it would play out if we went green the whole way. I think we still would have came back and passed them and beat them, though, in the long run for the after a green flag pit stop, which unfortunately we didn't have.
Well, you can help us out a little bit about pit strategy because we weren't able to tell. That final stop, is that a 2-tire right side only or all 4?
I never tested 2, so I would have did 4. I think it would have just gotten too loose if you'd have took 2.
Well, you had a nice opening. You've had some impressive runs. You're going to be well up in the point standings. Let's see where we're going next time. Oh, this will be fun. One of my favorite tracks, USA. Do you know USA? Do you like it?
I'm not a short track guy, so as long as I don't get disqualified on incident limits, I'll be okay. So top 10 I'll be happy.
Well, here's the good news. As far as short tracks go, it's a big one. We'll see you down the road. Well done. Justin Michael, your race winner today.
Thanks, sir.
JR, you able to run somebody down?
Yes, sir. I believe I got Zach Saunders here. He's our second place finisher tonight. Zach, gotta ask you, the end of the race there, did you think you had anything going for Justin out in front?
If I had the same amount of clean air, I did. But I didn't, so that's not how that worked.
Yeah, we definitely talked about how difficult that clean air would be, and you got to have it, right, if you want to keep those front tires on it.
That clean air was just, it was too much, even for fresh tires. Like, I could get a couple runs if I did certain things out of the corner, but it's just, you can't really expect to be, within a couple tenths and just thick air. These cars are way more air dependent than I think all the other three NASCAR series. So
yeah, it's definitely proven to be, especially on these larger 1.5 plus tracks. So something to think about, I guess, moving forward later in the season. But Zach, this is your second race, I believe, of the season. Both of them, you've had a second place finish. How encouraging is that to you? Number one, but number two, you're going to be around for the rest of the season to run with these guys.
Yeah, I should be able to run the rest of the season, and if I can, put in a decent quality lap, I wouldn't have to fight my way up to the front. So, yeah, it's good momentum and stuff to go into each week with knowing I can get a good finish. I've got tons of experience running Xfinity and stuff, so and tracks. So I know how to get around the tightness of most tracks. Haven't ran Vegas in a long time, so felt kind of noobish around here. So, but no, we'll go back at it next week and learn some things.
Absolutely, man. Hey, that brings me, before I let you go here, I want to ask you about next week, going to USA short track. Kind of a little bit awkward in these cars, a little bit tight to the center of the corner, but you can definitely wear out those rear tires under acceleration. What are your thoughts going there? You got any kind of a game plan?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to wear the rear tires out as much as we think. These things have a ton of forward traction, and I think that's where the majority of the understeer comes from, is because this car has so much forward traction coming out of the corner. It just lifts the front end, and that's, obviously you get tight. But I mean, if you can roll through the center at USA really good, I mean, you'll just use that to your advantage to get a nice straight drive off the corner. Another league I ran in, we ran next gens there, and it was the same way. If you could roll the center of the corner really well, you usually got a pretty good exit. So we'll dial the brake bias a little further back for there, and we'll see what happens.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on that second place run, back-to-back weeks, and maybe we'll get to talk to you some more next week.
Hopefully. Thank you.
All right, guys. That was Zach Saunders. He's our second place finisher tonight. Soup, who you got now?
I got William Red Alert Kirk. William, it is fun to watch a driver work their way through the field. It's really fun when we watch it happen on the broadcast. Early on, you were quick through, and you got yourself a third when it's all said and done.
About dang time, man. I feel like I've been waiting on this all season. I have good runs, and then nothing materializes, so I'm pretty happy about this one.
There was some good racing going on in there with Wang in the mix and all the guys you were racing through there. You could have finished anywhere from third or outside the top 10.
Yeah, no, I mean, those guys were good. I was nervous second run. I tried to save and still burned them up real bad, so I fell back and I never caught them. So then on the last run, I saved even more and was able to catch them at the end whenever it mattered. But yeah, it was really good racing with those guys, and they're really fast, so glad we were able to compete, because I think in practice I was 33rd, so good to see that the patience kind of paid off there.
Better racer than a qualifier, it looks like. We'll get you out of here on this one. We have a female fan supporting you in the YouTube chat. Who might that be?
That's my mom. She's the best. My great aunt also watches, and then my coworker Nate was able to watch as well. So great love to them, and for providing you guys viewers and comments, spreading the visibility of y'all's channel, and thanks for everything y'all do, and James and all the admins. It was a hell of a race.
Let's have Mom's first name and the aunt's first name as well.
Michelle, Kirk, and then Aunt Marilyn. That's what I'm going to call
Aunt
it.
Marilyn.
Respectful.
Got it. Aunt Marilyn. Well done. All right. Well, we'll see if we can give Michelle and Marilyn another good run next week. We'll see you down the road.
All righty. Sounds good. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Mom and aunt, happy to watch, and a friend as well. With that said, the racing is over, but our, you know what? Our broadcast is almost over too. Sorry. Force of habit on that one. Let's go ahead. When will we be back? We'll be back next week. Oh, you got to love USA. Yeah, it's a short track, but it's a big short track, if that makes any sense. That'll be Monday night, the 28th of April. Before then, it's yesteryear 1966 Tour Modified Series. Where are we going? Oh, Nashville Fairgrounds. You're going to see some good racing, and then after the race, go and hear some good music as well. That's coming up Tuesday, April 22nd. Those broadcasts, future broadcasts, past broadcasts, all a production of, well, you see right there, the Virtual Grip Network. See all those faces up there? Those are all the people that make this possible. We'd like to thank each and every one of them, especially the one that is dead center top row. He's a good guy, too. With that said, until next time, have fun storming the castle.